Here we go.
Hello. Oh my God, we're back again. Okay, so
yes, hi.
another conversation
Hi,
with Wendy Mulder from Living with Ease.
She's dragged me here again.
I have. I've taken her out to the backyard to say, let's go to our spot and have a little chat.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we thought to talk about today was actually fear. And we're like, oh my God, how do we talk about fear without people going, I don't want to listen to that. So I thought I might tell you my funny little story about, so this went on as a little kid and well into my, I'd say probably into my 20s, because I actually have memories of, I used to, I'd be driving along in my car.
Yeah.
And I'd be worrying about what my life was going to be like if I lost my family, like when they died, inevitable, people die.
Yes, they do.
And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to cope? I had all this fear about losing my family or being alone. And so what I would do in my head is I'd plan out in what order my grandparents and parents could die that I would be able to cope with. So I'd be like, okay, well, if this grandparent goes and then that one, and then hopefully by the time that one dies, I might have some like answer and not be like so worried about losing people, or I would have this whole talk about control freak. I would try to, and knowing that I couldn't control this, mind you,
and just to interrupt a minute, how much of that as well is it all coming from your head?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
massive head tripping,
massive
head tripping.
Yeah.
And totally insane.
Yep.
But this is what I used to do. I'd be like, oh well, if this just happens, maybe I won't be so paralyzed by fear, or maybe I don't know. I just had this insane point of view, and I was afraid of losing people, and that was one of my biggest fears, of being alone in this world. And I don't think that we are alone. I don't think that we're alone, and I don't think that I'm alone in having those thoughts and things come up, and especially at times where we're having a lot of fear around viruses and getting ill and losing the people we care about. That's a thing that's kind of in a lot of people's minds. And I wanted to talk to you, Wendy, about this because you're one of the people who has been able to, be with situations that most people would be like, oh my God, I don't know how I could cope with that. And you actually receive the gift of those situations that most people would run from screaming. And one of those things you actually write about in your book, in her book, Dying Happy, The Gift of Choice. And I was just reading the prologue here, and you said one of the reasons that you actually wrote this book was because for all those people who had that experience of caring for loved ones and feeling they had regrets, and that they hadn't been able to really be present because they were either caring too much or too worried about things or having too many anxieties and fears, and that you really had a different point of view for how people could trust themselves and actually get the gift of that process. And I wanted to, and I know that's a really big, long prologue, but I just wanted you to talk to me a little bit about fear, what it really is, and what's that gift of being present, how that changes, how that can change things.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is that, fear, it's not real. And though when you're functioning from your head, you're with your mind, and it's just it starts inventing these stories. And it just, and as soon as you tip into that, it just gets more and more and more. Whereas, you have your mind, but then you also have your being, where you can actually have this energy in this space of where you can actually, in simplest, I suppose, to take away from the fear, to move away from the fear, is to ask the question, what am I grateful for here today? Maybe just, I'm keeping it really, really simple, but it's just what if you could just ask, what am I grateful for here? What am I grateful for, whoever I'm caring for, or the people around me, or even for myself. And that energy then expands your world and takes you away from the mind and the thinking and the projections and the invention of the stories and everything like that. And then you actually can choose to, ask, well, what am I grateful for? Where is my reality here with being grateful? Even if it's just that simple question, where's my reality here with being grateful? And allow for that to show up in your world.
Yeah, and so when I think of like when I was doing all that crazy trying to figure out in what order I could lose people so that I wouldn't be too upset or afraid about losing people.
Yes.
But it's like I wasn't present with all these people. They were all still in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was there, they were there. So there are all these gifts of having them and being here and now with them. But I wasn't present with that. I was too busy figuring out this like projected future of all these things that weren't even real.
Well, yeah, and then you get distracted. You get totally distracted.
You're not living your life then.
Yeah. It's like that's where that question of like actually where are you? You're not actually. You're out here somewhere externally where all the gifts are actually here. Like trusting yourself, having gratitude for yourself, and like and just honoring yourself. And then if you start with being that, then so many more other possibilities can show up, and it can take you away. It can help you to get away from all the distractions of these, these head tripping of
fears, anxieties, worries.
Yes, absolutely. So, absolutely. So starting off with, like even if you just start off with that one simple question of like, what can I be grateful for today? And what can I be grateful for myself? And what is my reality with being grateful?
What is my reality with being grateful? Yeah, and that's so different from how do I confront my fears and overcome them? There's like, you just like, let's just take a sidestep here and like, hey, what can I be grateful for about me in my life right now?
Yeah.
And like what a huge gift that is.
Yeah, because you're alive. I mean, that's the whole thing that I know it seems
we're
like...
here. It's now. You're alive.
It seems like a silly, like it's a very obvious thing, but... dealing with a lot of people that are dying and a lot of people who have died and being with people when they have died, the simple basics of all this is we are alive, so we always have a choice. We can have fear or we can have gratitude for being here and being alive, and what can we receive if we didn't have all of those distractions and we allowed ourselves to enjoy who we be.
Which one sounds more fun to you guys? Let us know. Yes. Is fear more fun for you or gratitude more fun? Maybe try both and find out.
Yeah. See how you go. See which ones, touches your...
Yeah. Touches your happy bone. I don't know. That sounded a bit rude, didn't it?
I know. Don't know.
Oops, she was smart enough not to say it, but not me.
No.
Thanks so much, Wendy. I always love having a chat with you.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.